Hello and welcome back to RBY Pokemon Challenges. My name is Teo and we are continuing our Misty Minimum Battles series where we're taking 75 Pokemon that could beat Brock on minimum battles, and now we're pitting them up against Misty. Now, before we get into today's content, I just want to say Happy New Year! It's 2022, and this has really been a pretty awesome holiday for me. We've seen a lot of new people come to the channel, some new subscribers, a lot of new views. I'm really excited to see what we can do with the channel this year. So we're going to, of course, continue the Misty Minimum Battles series, but I've heard the comments coming from some of the new subscribers that they'd like to see 0 DV runs. We're going to be getting to that as soon as we finish this current series. So once we get through these 75 Pokemon all the way through the champion at the end of the game, we're going to take all the Pokemon that are able to beat the entire game on minimum battles, and then we're going to rerun them using 0 DVs to see how much DVs actually affect their performance. So that will be something coming up in a later series. But for now, if you are new to the channel, if you are somebody who's just seeing this for the first time, I hope that you enjoy the content as we continue our minimum battles runs. Now, it's no mystery that most of the people who come and watch these videos are not subscribers. So if you want to support the channel, help us get this new year off really strong. If you enjoyed today's video, just drop a subscribe or a like down below. It will help you, of course, get the content that we put out, but it will also help me know that we're doing stuff that you guys like. If you have any suggestions or ideas for future runs, just drop them in the comments. I think I've done a pretty good job of responding to everybody's comments. I will definitely make the effort to respond to everybody. But yeah, if you have a good idea, we'll definitely incorporate it in a future video. Now, let's just recap where we've been so far. So, up to this point, we have played 8 episodes against Misty. We've taken 5 Pokemon per episode, so we're already 40 Pokemon into our 75. And we have yet to lose against Misty with a single Pokemon. Even last week, we were using Onix, which I expected to struggle, but 4 times weakness to water still wasn't enough for Misty to win in that situation. So we've already had kind of an easy time here, but I promise you it's going to ramp up as we get more into the middle game. Once we get to Sabrina and Rival 5 and Koga and Blaine and Giovanni, some of these Pokemon are definitely going to drop out. But with that being said, let's take 5 new Pokemon today. So let's very quickly look at our rules. So we are using no items in battle, and we are not taking extra battles, by which I mean we are not fighting wild Pokemon or trainers that are not required to beat the game. So we can fight the Nugget Bridge trainers before Misty, because we would have to fight them at some point to beat the game. But we can't just fight a bunch of random wild Pokemon to level up. There's no level grinding like that. Now, what this means, because we don't fight optional trainers, we can't get some very useful TMs. We can't get the Body Slam TM on the SSN, for example, or the Rest TM on the SSN. We can't move the trainer out of the way to get Seismic Toss yet. We will be able to go back and get Seismic Toss later by using Cut for some Pokemon. That will be important. When we get some of these fighting type Pokemon, they're not going to be able to learn moves that can hit ghost types. Hitmonlee from the last episode is a great example of that. He's going to need to get Seismic Toss in order to beat the Lavender Tower or to beat Agatha at the end of the game. There's just going to be no way for him to hit the ghosts otherwise. But that will be coming later. In this section, all we can actually get for TMs, we can get Mega Punch, we can get Water Gun, we can get Thunder Wave, we can get Dig, we can get the HM1 for Cut, and we can get 2 rare candies. Now there is one more TM that we can actually get in this section of the game, but we're not going to get it because it is completely worthless for the purposes of our run. If you know what TM that is, drop it down in the comments below. Anyway, without further ado, let's look at today's Pokemon. So, here we have 5 Pokemon that I think are maybe the most interesting Pokemon left in our challenge set. We have Ivysaur, which I expect to be an easy run, but then we have Cloyster. Cloyster is a water-ice type, and it's basically best known for having an amazing defense stat. In this generation, I think it had the highest defense stat of all Pokemon. But it's also a slow level up group Pokemon. So it's very possible that our Cloyster is not going to reach Misty at as high of a level, and that could be a deterrent for it. We're going to take Poliwag. It's our only completely unevolved Pokemon left on our list. Dugtrio, it's the last Pokemon that has a just pure type disadvantage against Misty. And of course Nidoqueen also has a type disadvantage. It's ground poison type. But Nidoqueen is actually already going to be able to learn Body Slam, or already be able to use Body Slam. It's already learned it. So that Pokemon may just be able to overpower Misty as soon as we get there. So today, let's really see how quickly can we beat Misty with these Pokemon, because I'm not sure any of them are actually going to struggle. With that being said, let's go ahead and load up our first game today and go with Ivysaur. So I think many of us, when we first got to Misty, this was probably the Pokemon that we already had, right? Playing for the first time through the game. I mean, you would have gotten through Brock fairly easily with Bulbasaur, and on the way to Misty, most of us, even on minimum battles, we would have leveled up enough to become an Ivysaur. So, it's probably the most realistic of all these Pokemon that we've played that would actually be in this situation where it's minimum battles and it's just fighting Misty. Now what we're gonna have to be careful of here with Ivysaur is that it's gonna do okay in this section. Like, poison's not gonna be super effective against it, but it's not a Pokemon that has great attacks yet. I think after this trainer, yeah, this is where we'll actually learn Vine Whip and start to be able to take advantage of our stats. But right there, we just got taken out by an Ekans. Let's see if I saved before. No, I did not. So we're going to have to actually go back and reset the game, because we can lose basically some pretty easy fights just like this one because of the fact that we just don't have great stats. And that reminds me, that's one thing that was pointed out by one of the commenters, and I want to make sure that I get this in. There was a time in the first episode of this series that I actually didn't give perfect DVs to my Pokemon. I left them as is, and that could have affected Squirtle last week, and it could be affecting Ivysaur this week. So let's make sure that we get our max DVs in, because that's actually, I think, somewhat important. And we're going to take a slightly different strategy here against Caterpie, since I think we can just use Leech Seed to gain back some HP off of it. But yeah, so this way when we level up, we'll actually get our max DVs in, and I think that will also help our Ivysaur do better here. So, right, we're just spamming some growls so that we get its attack down. But yeah, so now we should actually have perfect DVs on our Ivysaur because we leveled up. Let's just see. Yeah, I mean, our stats are quite a bit better. So let's see if that affects things at all. Let's just save just in case. And here we should get access now to Leech, or to Vine Whip, which is, of course, a win for us. Okay, and now let's just tackle this guy down. Perfect. Yeah, see, that's a much easier fight because we actually have max DVs now. Against Pokemon like Nidoran Male, I think just using some growls to reduce its attack is pretty good. But here we go. We're getting through this route pretty easily now. And I mean, Vine Whip, even though it's resisted, might be better than anything else. Particularly because Metapod uses Harden. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get through here. Now, one thing that I don't expect us to have too much trouble with is the poison types in Mount Moon. Like, yes, Team Rocket's going to use poison type moves. They're going to be neutrally effective, but we can't be poisoned, which helps a lot. Because there are some Pokemon that just get poisoned by them and then can't make it to Cerulean City, and we faint, and then we have to go through this whole route all over again. But I don't think we're going to have to deal with that today, so we want to avoid that Rocket Grunt. There we go. And let's go ahead and get on through. So, here we are. We have made it to the Super Nerd at the end of Mount Moon. And now I think we just take this guy out. I think Vine Whip is more than enough for Voltorb. And then Coughing, yet again, I think is a good Pokemon to just spam some growls on it before we start tackling to take it down. There we go. And now Team Rocket. Okay, there we go. That one's done. Take out Meowth. Easy game. And let's take out Coughing as quickly as we can. Just trying to lower its attack so that we can basically heal up off of it. And there we go. So, with perfect DVs, obviously this isn't really any challenge getting to Cerulean City. And it's already time to go fight Misty. We've got a super effective move. Let's just get through her gym as quickly as possible. So, Vine Whip. Literally one Vine Whip takes out the Goldeen. And now, on to Misty herself. Ooh, we do not one-hit KO the Starmie, or the Staryu. But, it's a 3-hit KO against Starmie, and it's that easy with Ivysaur. And we would expect that to be the case, because our Bulbasaur was easily able to get through this section. So Ivysaur should be a walk in the park. And it's good to see that that is, in fact, the case. So, Ivysaur is our first Pokemon through today. Completely expected that one. Let's get to something that could be a little bit more of a challenge. Poliwag. Now, when it comes to Poliwag, I have a lot of confidence in this Pokemon going through the challenge. And the reason for that is, well, yes, we're starting out right here with only Bubble. We're going to pick up some pretty good moves, even just in this section, because I think by the time we get to Misty, we're going to have learned Hypnosis. And Hypnosis is just, I mean, all sleep moves in Generation 1 are so incredibly broken that it's really just a matter of, okay, how, can we get through all these trainers on the route up to Mount Moon, basically, without too much trouble, because the biggest issue that we will run into, that we've seen with other Pokemon like Horsey, for example, is that Bubble is just such a weak move that we can actually get taken out by some of these Pokemon here, especially if they're getting critical hits on us like that. But in Mount Moon, we're going to get access to Water Gun via TM, so we don't have to wait to level up enough to get Water Gun, which is also good. And yeah, we're going to get access. We're going to start getting access to a bunch of useful TMs throughout the game. Like later in the game, if you look at our TM moves or TM moveset, like of course we're going to have normal and water type moves, but we're also going to have access to ice type, psychic type moves. And yeah, those are going to give us a pretty good moveset for getting through the later parts of the game. So let's go ahead and learn Water Gun before I forget, so that once we get to Team Rocket, we can use the stronger move. And yeah, like admittedly, when I was younger, I never really used the Poliwag line, so I didn't realize like Poliwrath, its final evolution, is actually such an incredibly strong Pokemon. Because of its typing plus its just insane moveset. But the reason that I never really paid attention to that is because in Generation 1, it's actually pretty incredible how late in the game you actually start getting legitimate water-type Pokemon. Like, you can pick up a Magikarp here before Mount Moon by paying the guy 500 Poké Dollars, but that's outside of a starting Squirtle. That's the only water-type Pokemon that you can get until, at least after getting the Poké Flute, basically, and being able to go get the Good Rod and the Super Rod. So because of that, you were always so late in the game before you could even get access to a lot of water-type Pokemon. And once you did, catching a level 15 Pokemon, when your Pokemon are already 50 plus, just kind of disincentivizes you from using them, right? Like, it was the same issue with Lapras. Picking up Lapras in Silphco, such a low level, like, why would you waste your time grinding with it when you've already got level 40, 50 Pokemon? But I digress. We are here at Misty. We have Hypnosis, Water Gun, and Bubble. Let's go ahead and try to get through Misty's gym with this moveset. Now, yeah, we're going to be stuck using water-type moves against water-type Pokemon. But because we have Hypnosis, that may be enough. So we're just going to go ahead and get through here. Let's go ahead and fight Misty now. And the play is definitely use Hypnosis, and then just hope for good ranges with our water guns. So there we go. We are through Staryu. And now against Starmie, it's pretty much, okay, how many turns can you sleep, Starmie? And can we put you back to sleep so that we don't take damage from you? And here, Starmie using Harden or Misty using an X-Defend basically doesn't matter, because water-type moves are all special, so we don't even have to worry about any damage reduction. And there we go. We get through Misty without needing to take any additional battles. First try. I mean, it takes longer than Ivysaur, but it's really not any sort of challenge. That's been the case with all of our water types so far, but it's interesting to see nonetheless. So there we go. We have now gotten 2 Pokemon through Misty. Let's go ahead and jump to our 3rd Pokemon, Dugtrio. Now, Dugtrio I know is not considered like a top tier Pokemon in Generation 1 at this point, but when I was a kid, I thought that Dugtrio was one of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game. Now, one of the things that I noticed without really knowing the reason why when I was younger was that fast Pokemon tend to be better. And when I was a kid, I thought it was just because I get to hit first, right? Obviously, I hit first, so I'm going to have an advantage. Now, of course, that I know more about the mechanics of how Pokemon work, I realize that it's not just that they hit first, it's that they have, in Generation 1, these incredible critical hit rates, where the critical hit rate was determined by base speed. So the faster your Pokemon was, the more damage it was going to be able to do because it was going to get more critical hits. And so I remember playing Pokemon Stadium or playing against my friends as a kid, pseudo-competitively, and I would always have a Dugtrio on my team because even though it could be taken out very, very easily by any kind of special attacker, it would almost always go first. There are only a few Pokemon in the game that are faster than Dugtrio, and because it would almost always go first, ooh, that's not what we wanted to see, and that's not what we wanted to see either. Ooh. Sorry, folks. I just misplayed here. So, let's get Dugtrio back up. But basically, because it's able to outspeed our opponents and it's able to hit them with so many more critical hits, it basically makes Dugtrio like a premium Pokemon in this generation. So I see, as I realize we didn't heal up post Brock. But so what that means is that at least for a solo run, Dugtrio's gonna have a pretty big advantage on a lot of other Pokemon because of its speed, because it's gonna be able to use stab moves like Earthquake or Dig and outspeed our opponents. Now, the downside of Dugtrio is that it has really one of the most limited movesets in Generation 1, I think, because it's really only going to learn like these ground type moves. Dig, Fissure could be useful with Dugtrio because it will outspeed other Pokemon, but it's not going to get like Body Slam, for example, which would be its best, in my personal opinion, its best normal type move. It's also not going to be able to get access to any sort of real type coverage moves in this generation. So it's just going to be using its ground type moves. It will get Rock Slide, which we can use for particularly flying Pokemon situations where we can't just use a ground type move. But it's really going to be hurting, I think, when we get up against Pokemon that start to have some way of resisting the ground type, either by being immune to it or just it not being very effective. When we're fighting an Exeggutor, like, what are we going to use against Exeggutor? Especially when we consider that we don't have access to Body Slam. Like, we may, at that point, Fissure might be our best move. But that's quite a ways down the road, obviously. We first have to get through to that section of the game. But when you think about the gym leaders, I mean, if we get through Misty here, then Erica might be a bit of a challenge, but a lot of the other gym leaders, really Dugtrio with its ground typing is going to do just fine. So let's see if we can get through Misty, and we'll go from there. So, first, Junior Trainer, doesn't get any damage off on us, and we just take her out. But we did not one-hit KO her Goldeen, and that could be a sign that we cannot beat Misty at this point. So Misty is always going to use water type moves against us because we are weak to water. Now, a critical hit does take out Staryu, and we actually survived a Bubble Beam from Starmie. So this is a situation where if Misty just plays badly, we may be able to get through. Like, that was really close to getting through. And we have this insane critical hit rate. And there you have it. Basically, just because Misty used an X defend, we were able to get through by just spamming Dig without any additional training, any additional battles. Now, this is a perfect Dugtrio. Keep that in mind. If you were playing with a low DV Dugtrio, this might be more of a grind. We might actually have to go fight some additional battles, but not with a perfect Dugtrio. This is just as simple as spam Dig and hope for Misty to use an X defend at the right time, or hope for some critical hits. Easy game. So with that being done, even with the mistake, Dugtrio's run was super fast. So let's go ahead and just get to our next Pokemon. Now that we've got Dugtrio out of the way, Cloyster is next up on the list. Now, Cloyster is kind of interesting in Generation 1 Pokemon because it's a slow level up Pokemon. So in spite of the fact that it's got some amazing moves and amazing moveset coming in with TMs, you know, it's not a Pokemon that we would really expect to get to a very high level naturally with in this sort of challenge, so it could struggle later on. Now, at this point, I don't expect it to struggle because you can already see it's got Clamp and it's got Aurora Beam. And that's a pretty awesome moveset for this early in the game, particularly, because Clamp basically just allows us to use, you know, it's water type wrap, basically. So it just lets us get a stab move that locks the opponent in for multiple turns. But I think Clamp is a little bit stronger than, you know, a move like Wrap or Bind. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check the exact like attack power of the move, but it's definitely a stronger move than those because of the fact that we have Stab to go with it. So at this point, Cloyster's doing just fine. I think where Cloyster might start to struggle is actually going to be later in the game when it's not going to keep up with the levels of other Pokemon. And because it will have lower levels, we can possibly reach some situations where we're going to struggle to get through. And I'm particularly thinking about cases, for example, against Lorelei, because we're not going to have a ton of like moves that can do big damage against Lorelei. And her Dugong in the very beginning of the Elite Four there will use Rest to heal up, and because it's using Rest and it doesn't ever run out of PP, because that's how they coded Generation 1, we could end up in a bad situation where our Cloyster isn't doing enough damage to get through the opponents, and basically we use up all of our PP because the opponent is just healing up with Rest. Again, that's very far in the future. We could also struggle against Erica at some point, but with that being said, it's still a pretty awesome top tier Pokemon. So let's see how this goes against Team Rocket. I think the play is just spam Clamp. Like, there's no reason to learn Water Gun at this point. We have Supersonic to confuse the opponent, and we have Clamp to lock them in, so that's pretty much all we need, I think. So let's go ahead and try Misty's gym, and we'll start off against the junior trainer. And even with the type resistance, I think Clamp is the play. And there you go. We get through the junior trainer with no problems whatsoever. So let's try Misty herself. And let's just go ahead and drop down a quick save here. And time for Misty. So basically, because we're only using water type and ice type moves, there's no reason to worry about Harden or X Defend. And because Misty's got quote unquote smart AI in this generation, she's only going to use normal type moves against us. She will never use water type moves, and because of that, we get through Misty with a level 15 Cloyster. We saw the same thing with Lapras before, but we don't even need like a neutral damage dealing move against Misty to get through, because she will just use X Defend and Harden so many times. It makes her rather easy. So there we have it. Misty is down with 4 Pokemon today, 4 for 4, and we're going to our last Pokemon of the day. That Pokemon, folks, is in fact Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen was one of my favorite early game Pokemon as a kid. Because of its access to Body Slam, and because it was attainable as soon as Mount Moon in a normal playthrough. Like, you didn't actually have to do too much to get Nidoqueen going. Oops. Ooh, just a second here. What happened? Let's just see. Ooh. Did we lose our data on this one? Let's just check if our emulator's being weird or if we lost our Nidoqueen data. Okay. Just a second, folks. We may be doing the Nidoqueen run all over again, folks. So just a second here. Let's get this sorted. So, what we need Ultimate Pokemon Randomizer. Back up here. So let's get that going. And we may be playing Nidoqueen from the very beginning just to get this sorted out here. So let's start off by getting access to that by doing our randomizer here. Let's see. Strange, folks. Strange. All right, folks, we are back. Sorry about the technical issues there. We have our Nidoqueen running now. We're going to have to do the run from the beginning because it looks like the Nidoqueen data was lost. So that's exciting, but Nidoqueen is not a Pokemon that I expect to struggle very much in this section of the game. So we're just going to go ahead and take the run from the beginning. Now, the reason that I don't expect Nidoqueen to struggle very much is because, first off, we're giving our Nidoqueen perfect DVs, and second off, our Nidoqueen has Body Slam as a starting move. And Body Slam is so incredibly broken in this generation. There's a reason why all the top competitive RBY players use Body Slam on their Pokemon, because it can paralyze just about everything, and it does really good damage. So to have one of the best moves in the entire game already at the very start of the game is just a massive advantage. So I don't expect getting back through Brock to be too much of a challenge or to take us too long. Obviously, we've just delivered Oak's parcel, so now it's on to Viridian Forest to fight the Bug Catcher. And we'll just be a couple minutes behind our normal pace with our Nidoqueen, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. So let's go ahead and get through Viridian Forest as quickly as possible. There we go. We do not want to fight that Bug Catcher. Perfect. We got past him. And onto the Bug Catcher we do want to fight. Boom, boom, boom. Body Slam is more than enough to take it out. And we could have gotten a Pidgeotto right there. Hey, that would have been nice. Anyway, so now we are through. We are going to fight Brock. And I think this will be a pretty easy repeat of previous runs. So let's get into the battle with Brock first. The game plan here is, of course, Body Slam. There we go. Okay, Onix uses Bide, so we'll use a bunch of Tail Whips. We'll paralyze it. And boom. There we are, without really any difficulty at all, through Brock, because Paralysis completely breaks Brock's AI. Basically, because he's using full heals every single time, up to 5 times. He's just wasting all of those turns and allowing us to get more hits on him. So, there we go. We have gotten through Brock with our Nidoqueen. Let's just drop down to save real quick. And let's go ahead and fight the trainers on the route to get to Misty. Now, Nidoqueen has a pretty good advantage in that it's going to learn a lot of different types of moves. As we can see right there, we just learned Double Kick, which is going to give us an advantage against normal type Pokemon like Rattata. Plus, we're poison ground types, so all these poison types in this section of the game are basically going to be worthless against us. Now, when we get late in the game, this is a Pokemon that's going to be able to learn moves like Thunderbolt, moves like Earthquake, moves like Blizzard. We're going to have so much type coverage late game with Nidoqueen that honestly it might get through the entire game just based on its moveset. The places where it's going to struggle basically are if it can get through Misty, then Sabrina and Koga are going to be its big struggles. I don't say Erica because I think we'll have more than enough to take care of Erica, but Sabrina with Psychic type moves and Koga, who in this generation is basically just using Psychic type moves, could actually pose some challenge to our Nidoqueen. And then of course getting to the Elite Four Lorelei could be a really big challenge for Nidoqueen, but we should have tools to deal with just about everything as we go through the game. So it's really, up in the air whether or not Nidoqueen will actually struggle at those points. But in this section of the game, I do not expect Nidoqueen to struggle at all because we have Body Slam, and Body Slam is so strong. Like, we can see basically everything's a 2-hit KO. So let's go ahead and Body Slam there, Double Kick for Meowth, and then a couple of Body Slams will take care of Coughing, and we are through Mount Moon. Perfect. So being through Mount Moon, we are going to pick up the Great Ball because we will need a flying type later on. But let's go ahead and go to Misty's gym. Let's just see how we do right now, right off the bat. So here against Goldeen, the play is definitely just Body Slam. And let's just see if Misty is doable or not. So we outspeed and we get a Body Slam off. And now it's really, can we get Paralysis off against Starmie? If we can get Paralysis off on Starmie, I think that we have an easy run. So a critical hit wasn't quite enough to take Starmie out. But we get through Staryu, perfect. Like, I think this is doable even at this level with just the right kind of luck, basically. Like, we would really just need to get the Paralysis off on Starmie, I think, and we're good to go. Okay, so that one didn't work out. We really needed a fully paralyzed or an X defend, but the reason that we would want Paralysis here on the Starmie is just so that we can outspeed it on turn 2, basically. So turn 1 Paralysis. So it's not really working out. We had a couple of runs that got pretty close, but we can make this very consistent just by fighting some necessary battles. So let's go ahead and take out Rival 2. So Body Slam, Double Kick, Double Kick. Easy. Now we're going to put off learning Water Gun at this point because it's not really necessary, and even with the Onix North on the way to Bill's house, like, we can just use Double Kick. So there's no like pressing reason to get that move yet. You could say for type coverage, but in the context of a full game playthrough, you don't just want to learn TMs for the sake of learning them. Like, you want to learn TMs because they're useful against Pokemon that are upcoming. And if we already have a tool to beat the Onix with Double Kick, there's not really any reason to waste the TM trying to get, you know, another super effective move in Water Gun. So here we are up against Onix. Double Kick 2 times. Easy game. Oops. Let's reload. There we go. And let's Body Slam. Ooh, and we're out of Body Slam, so we actually just have to fight normally. I.e. not using the most broken move at this section of the game. But we can see Oddish is not really too much of a challenge, and yeah, there we are. We've made it all the way to Bill's house, fighting only necessary trainers, and now we can get the SS ticket, run back down, and give Misty another shot. So here, just for the sake of completionism, I'm going to go ahead and fight the Team Rocket Grunt here too, just because maybe Drowsy will be a challenge. Nope. But there we have it. So we've gained several levels, and we may be able to now just one-shot the Staryu. Let's find out if that's the case, and then see how we do against Starmie. So Body Slam, it's critical hit, so it might have been a one-shot, but 2 Body Slams takes out Starmie, and we're through the challenge. So even with all of the difficulty that we had there and the technical difficulties with the ROM not loading, we were still able to get through Misty in a reasonable amount of time. And yeah, that's a run right there. So that does it for today. 5 Pokemon. All of them were able to beat Misty on minimum battles. We've continued our trend. We're now 45 Pokemon out of 75 in, and every single one has been able to beat Misty on minimum battles. So if we go back here and we look at our Pokemon, like, we really don't have many Pokemon left that should struggle against Misty. I mean, we got to take off our Ivysaur here. Nidoqueen got through. Dugtrio was able to win. Poliwag got through. And of course, Cloyster got through. And with that being the case, I mean, I say it every episode, but really, what Pokemon do we have left that are actually going to struggle against Misty? All of these Pokemon are dealing with situations where, like, their unevolved form was able to get through, or a Pokemon that was very similar to them was able to get through. So we're quickly running out of anything that looks like a challenge here. Drop a comment down below. Do you think we should just rush through all of these Pokemon like in another video? Should we just, like, smash out like 10 because we know that they're going to be easy? Or should we even just fast forward? Just finish all of these Pokemon and fast forward straight to the Rock Tunnel Celadon City section of the game. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think, because I could really go either way. I think that there's some value in putting out the content for YouTube, but I also think that there's, for those of you who are subscribed and are watching these videos, it may not be worth your time to watch a bunch of videos that you already know the outcome. So drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. We may turn this into more of a, can they beat Misty immediately upon reaching Cerulean City, as opposed to, you know, any battles north against Bill, or going to Bill's house rather, or going to the SSN, just to make this a little more interesting. Because within the challenge rules, like, they would still be able to do that and beat Misty, but we would be making it more like, can they immediately beat Misty? So let me know what you think. As usual, I love to see your comments. I love your feedback. So just go ahead and drop a comment down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed today's video. Sorry for the technical troubles with the Nidoqueen there at the end, but I hope that you enjoyed the content nonetheless. And 5 Pokemon through. So we will be back next week with 5 more Pokemon, but I'm looking forward to your comments. Tell me what you think about the future of this run. Do you think that we should just fast forward through it, or do you think that we should take each run one by one as we've been doing? So with that being done, I'll say thank you, Happy New Year once again, and I'll kick you out with just a little bit of my music. So if you like the song, the link is in the description below. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Your black market love me. She checked her halo at the barroom door. As the night bleeds, masquerades, ya no puedo resistir to amor. I know the evil games that you're playing. The way your eyes fall just like a flame. It'd be a sin just to know your name. Whoa, don't make me beg for your love, babe. Whoa, you've got my heart on a chain. With your black eyes on the red moonlight, let's shoot some stars in this neon night. Now it's a black market love, babe. She checked her halo at the bedroom door. Ya no puedo vivir sin ti, como me duele el amor. Yes, I know, it's just a game that she's playing. The way a song brings down the rain, and just one kiss